Hello, good morning. Today is May 25th, 2022. My name is DougBetts. This video is mainly going to be about my selection process for this Dell laptop computer and include some comments about how to go about selecting a Dell laptop. I also tried to, or I looked at HP laptops and I think also Lenovo when I wound up purchasing this from Dell because it was a good purchase and it fit the parameters of what we were looking for. I might be following this up with a couple other videos about setting up and configuring this computer. This video is mainly about how to go about selecting it. So I'll start by explaining that the reason for selecting this one is that this computer, that way, is the one that we're replacing. It's an HP laptop. I did a video on my channel every Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I do a live stream, and there's people that join from around the world. Some of them come in a Zoom session, so you can see their faces and or hear their voices as they participate in troubleshooting work or discussing technical topics, and you're certainly invited to join us for that. I'm going to switch over here to my Microsoft OneNote, where we're going to see some information that I collected about this laptop. I'll be pausing this recording once in a while in order to set up some blurs of sections on the screen. This is my notes in Microsoft OneNote about this client's laptop. His name is Greg. He has authorized me to use my work with his office on my YouTube videos. The only thing I've blurred here is the name of his company up here. This note began on May 17th. I actually started work on this computer, on the old computer prior to this. These two videos here are the Saturday live streams where we were working on trying to resolve the problem with the old laptop. Wound up concluding that there's something going on with the hardware of the computer. I described the work that I had done to that point with my client. He said, why not just buy a new computer? I said, sure. So this is the new computer. It arrived yesterday, and I'm going to show how I went about selecting it. In these notes here, there's more information. I'm not going to read through it, but if you're interested in more background, you could read through that. There are two faux pas in regards to this that I actually make notes to myself. And one is that there's longer amount of time between when we decided this laptop isn't worth repairing and I actually got this new computer, and that was because the selections available just weren't pleasing me, and I procrastinated a bit. Also, I discovered in my notes is that he wanted one Type-C USB port. This does not have that, but we can just use an adapter for that in his circumstances. These two links here will be in the description of this video that you're watching now. If you want to go see those, when you click on those links from the description of this video, that'll take you right to the point in those live stream sessions where we were working with his old computer. There, I'm going to pause again. Here's the page on my order records on my Dell account that shows this laptop, Inspiron 15 laptop. It came to $579.25, including tax and shipping. If there was shipping, I think we'll see that in a little bit. If I click on this here, that'll take me to the next tab. Now, I specifically was looking for a laptop I could order without customizing, because when you customize with Dell or HP, that can massively extend the amount of time that it takes to get the computer. I have a computer that I ordered a couple months ago for a client that was expected delivery in a couple weeks, and it still hasn't arrived. So I try to order without customizing. I have the right side of the screen blurred because it gives my address. I'll pause again and set up the next page. If I clicked on that link, it takes me to this page. I already had it set up on the tab. Nothing is blurred now. Here shows the $529 was the price of the computer before tax. I think it was free shipping. It was advertising next day delivery, but it took 4 days to arrive, and I thought that was fine. I only noticed now while recording this video that there's a slider switch here in order to get next day delivery. I don't recall noticing that the first time around, but this would be for ordering it now if I were going to order it. Free delivery tomorrow if ordered by 2 p.m. Central Time. That's what I recollect that I had selected. I just don't remember the slider switch. So I think I did order with the free delivery next day. If I click on this now, what happens? Price doesn't change. Yeah, nothing else changes. The squares here that are shown in blue are my selections for this computer. So it's a 10th gen Intel Core i5. I specifically wanted to get an i5 rather than an i7. His old laptop was an i7, but it's a couple generations older. I like the i5s because I'm expecting them to run a little bit cooler, not as much fan noise, perhaps a little more battery life. And his uses, he doesn't need the processing power of an i7. It's Windows 11 Home English. Notice there is no choice for Windows 10 anymore, and that's fine. It's time to start purchasing Windows 11. I find most of my end users they don't get their feathers ruffled at all in regards to Windows 11 because most of the time they're just launching the icons from the desktop. The programs work the same. It's us technical types that have some hesitations about Windows 10. The alternative was Windows 11 Home in S mode. That's a very, very limited operating mode. You can't install programs other than from the Microsoft Store. So I always avoid that. I've never intentionally ordered that. It's easy to turn off Windows S mode if you don't want that, if you accidentally order a computer with that. But you got to be careful because sometimes the computers that are sold with Windows 10 or 11 in S mode, they are lower capabilities. This computer is high enough capabilities that it's going to be fine with Windows 11 Home. Intel HD graphics, this is the integrated graphics rather than a separate graphics adapter. My client doesn't need that. A lot of the computers that I was seeing to order had 8 gigabytes of RAM. I would have preferred to get 16 gigabytes of RAM. I just did not find a good selection of computers for that because they had a lot of other stuff that my client doesn't need, which would increase the price. Now, this client was not on a budget. He didn't give me a budgeted amount. I was looking at laptops up in the $1,200 range. When I came across this one, I liked it better than some of the $1,200 laptops that I was seeing. I would have preferred to get a 1 terabyte NVMe drive for him, but 512 is sufficient. He's using less than 100 gigabytes, and he uses Microsoft OneDrive, and he uses multiple computers. So he's going to use OneDrive anyway for his main storage location, and then we'll do backups aside from that. Doesn't really need the 1 terabyte. I'm just kind of predisposed to that. I'm also predisposed, by the way, to purchase Intel rather than AMD. A little bit of an Intel snob in that regard. I'm not going to argue against somebody that wants AMD. He specifically wanted a 15-inch laptop. The old one is a 17-inch laptop, and it was just too big for his preferences. I always want to make sure that it would get 1920 by 1080 resolution. Sometimes lower cost laptops don't have 1080p, which is just another way to refer to 1920 by 1080. Carbon Black didn't care about that. And down here we have more technical specs. I'm not going to run through these individually, except that I will point out that it does not have the USB Type-C port that he requested. And if my recollection is right, the reason he wanted that is because he uses the laptop to project the music at his church. And the projector that they have has a USB Type-C connector. Well, it's very easy to use an adapter for that. It does have 2 USB 3.2 ports, which can easily communicate with a projector. I'm going to pause to bring up the next screen. I'm going to show how I went about selecting this laptop. Here I'm on Dell's website. It's just Dell.com, and then come up here to products and then laptops, and in this case for home. I want to show here how you go about finding the laptop that would be good for you and a couple of tips about ordering them. Come into here and scroll down, and they have them selected or categories in these different ways that they think people might be wanting to shop. If you're specifically looking for an XPS laptop, you would go here. Here's for creators and activity or everyday access or immersive gaming experience. So they're giving you those different categories of how you might select a laptop. You can use these drop-down menus to get a little more specific. One of the problems when the average person is coming in to try to shop for a laptop is, how do you know what these are? What is an Alienware? What is a G series? What is education? What is that going to get for you? Before going into those details, actually I'm probably not going to go into those details. I just want to give you a little more idea about how they categorize these. Here's Inspiron laptops, 2-in-1 PCs. 2-in-1 means you can fold it over like this and use it as a laptop, as a tablet with a touch screen. Here's Alienware laptops, which is more for gaming. And then G series gaming laptops, again for gaming, but it's basically a different base model. And his old laptop, I think, was a G series because it looks to me like it has features for gaming. And it has a dedicated graphics adapter in it, a GeForce. That's overkill for him. Doesn't really need that. There's Dell Chromebooks. That's going to have the Chrome operating system. There's laptop deals if you're looking for the best prices. And here's the one that I was interested in is fast shipping, meaning these are in stock, ready to ship. That's the area that I went into. We're going to go into there in a moment. But other choices or categories they have here is monitors and computer accessories, and then some other miscellaneous choices. So I'm going to go ahead into this area for fast shipping PCs. Now over on the left-hand side, you could actually not select any of these categories at all and just start using these check boxes to select what you want. And if I get all the way to the top, what does it start with? Yeah, it starts with choosing home or business. I'm going to come down to this place that I went through to actually find this particular laptop and click on Shop Now. Then here I started scrolling down and seeing what we have. There's Inspiron 15, 15-inch. There's 24-inch. That's not even a laptop, so I wasn't interested in that. I'd start out by just scanning through what is here. There's gaming. There's a 16-inch, 14-inch, 17-inch. So there's a lot here that does not interest me. So I want to narrow down the field a little bit. I'm already in the category for fast shipping. So over here on the left-hand side, I could limit to next day delivery. I did not do that when I went to do this shopping. What I did is I went to 15-inch because that's the most important category that I knew I wanted to limit to. Well, I wasn't really worried about next day delivery compared to 5 days or even 10 days. We weren't really in a rush for this, but I wanted something that was in stock, ready to ship. So that's why I'm in this area. I knew I did not want an i7. I did not want an i3. And very specifically, then this was for me, targeting an i5 because it's well, obviously faster than an i3, but not as high as an i7. I'll point out here there's no i9s or i10s or i11s. Even those are available in the industry. I don't think they've found their place yet in laptops because laptops are providing lower power. They want to have longer battery life. So i7 was the highest available here. So I've got it selected to i5. Now, once I've selected i5, I see there's only 3 results. So I can look through these and make my selection. I don't really need to narrow down anymore. However, I knew I didn't want 8 gigabytes of RAM. I could upgrade a computer from a laptop from 8 gigabytes to more, but I believe that I selected the 512. And also at this point, I noticed that 1 terabyte was just not a selection that was available. So here I got to this Inspiron 15 3529. I think this is actually the one that I ordered. Now, interesting thing, when this laptop arrived yesterday, it arrived yesterday, I went in here and I don't think this offering was here. These offerings change from time to time. Remember, this is in stock, ready to deliver. Well, that can change from day to day. And that's why I kind of delayed in ordering this laptop, because when I was previously checking for what was available on HP and Dell websites, and I think I did look a little bit on Lenovo, I didn't really find something that I was happy with. And I wasn't totally happy with this one because it had the compromise of being 512 gigabyte rather than 1 terabyte. And it had the compromise of 12 gigabytes of RAM instead of 16. But it was better than what I had been seeing previously. Another item that was causing me, oh yes, as I was seeing availabilities, is some of the choices were 1 terabyte SSDs without the NVMe designation. I very much favor the NVMe. It's a faster drive, newer technology, lower power consumption. So I'm always preferring NVMe if it's available for our circumstances. There's free next day delivery. So yes, there was no shipping fees. And it also happened to be on sale. So once I found this, I called my client, I sent him an email with the link of my shopping cart, and then discussed it with him, showed him the pictures of it. He approved the purchase. Now, when you're wanting to share this, what you have to do is add it to your cart in order to share it. There's no convenient way at this level to share it with somebody else. So I'm going to set that up in order to demonstrate it. This has view details. Where is it? Okay, so we actually have to click into this one before we can even add it to the cart. I can do that here without pausing for another blur operation. Once I added this to my cart, I was able to send him a link in an email, and I'm going to show how to do that. And then I actually connected remotely to his current computer at his office and went through the specifics with him. When we click in here, I think it is tech specs and customizations. No, I think it's actually clicking on the laptop. Now I'm trying to get to the point where I can show the photos of it. This was difficult to get to before too. All right, I'm going to pause. On this page, when you click on product details, what that does is that just scrolls you down lower on the screen. Let's see, if I scroll up a little bit, we're back to that place where the tech specs are. If we come down to here, we're in the details section. And notice also these tabs up here. When I'm down here in the details section, it is highlighting just that tab. Well, that's not working very nicely. Up in this area, it's highlighting the tech specs and customization. Come down here. Now it's highlighting product details, except it's kind of changing. Anyway, here's different pictures and different descriptions about the laptop. And I'm not trying to show you specifically about this laptop, just about how to go about selecting and ordering a Dell laptop. So now if I come back up to here, there's a green button on the right hand side to get this deal, and that'll add it to my shopping cart. I'm going to pause before I click on that. I verified those next clicks aren't going to expose anything that I need to keep concealed. So I'll go ahead and show clicking on Get This Deal. And that brings up this list, allows us to add more accessories. Not interested in that. I never add the extended support. The reason I don't add the extended support is because my clients will always be calling me if there's a problem at all. And if I call Dell for support, I'm going to get a first tier support person who typically is less qualified than I am to deal with the issue. So I've never found that to be useful when I'm providing professional support to my clients. You might find it useful if you're purchasing a laptop for yourself. They are pretty good at their support. You call them, you'll get through to somebody, they'll talk you through trying to resolve the problem over the phone, which means they're going to take you through all the basics. Well, I'm pretty confident about dealing with the basics, so I don't want to go through that with them. Proceed to cart. So we're going to add this to the cart. There's a few seconds here as it's adding to the cart. And it looks like I have it added a couple times. Now we're seeing a $649 price. Well, remember, there's this discount. And here's the $529 that we're expecting. Free next day delivery. Now, I didn't have to click on anything to that slider switch that I showed you earlier. That wasn't part of my ordering process. Now, I actually have just added it twice, so I'm going to remove this extra one. Let's make my picture-in-picture smaller. Over here on the right-hand side, shipping's free, the tax, and then the estimated total. And then click checkout. But at this point here, you have the option to save the cart, which I did. And then I also clicked on this email your cart, which will give you the capability of putting in a recipient's email address and type a message to them, and they're going to get an email that comes from Dell, but clearly showing that it came from you as the sender. I'll go back to cart. And that pretty much shows the process. Now, something that I do with my clients is with a lot of my clients, not all of them, is I actually use my client's credit card to place the order. So they don't get any price markup from me for purchasing the computer. I do charge them my time for the shopping and for placing the order and for all of the handling. Some other computer consultants will handle that differently. They won't charge them for their time placing the order, but they will charge a markup on the item. It's just a different business strategy. I do it this way because I don't like making large sales tax payments 4 times a year. And I figure that I'm making my money by charging them the time. That's mainly what my business is about. So I think that's all I wanted this video to be. I'm intending to do another video of opening the box. So unboxing, that's how we call it. And then perhaps a third video of performing the initialization of Windows 11. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.